2020 kicks off the decade of action, the alarm raised by the United Nations that we have only 10 years left to radically transform our societies to halt catastrophic climate collapse. This urgency inspired an incredible push to reform and innovate across industries, sparking new works and new approaches to the most pressing issues of environmental justice and human rights. The Slow Factory Foundation has been working with fashion as a medium for social and environmental change, bringing people together across disciplines and industries. From the study hall gatherings in New York, LA, London, and the United Nations, to on-the-ground education programs and industry roundtables. In 2019, Slow Factory partnered with Swarovski, a leader in sustainability for over 100 years, supported by the UN Office for Partnerships, to create a first-of-its-kind science incubator in fashion, breeding cross-disciplinary collaboration to empower solution-based sustainable innovation. In order to expand imagination to new realms of possibility, science and design must come together to create new paradigms for the fashion industry to lead, with 3 pillars of sustainability: circularity, equity-centered design, and regenerative technologies. 3 innovative scientists were paired with 3 influential designers. An incredible array of global experts came in as advisors to guide, challenge, and inspire the teams. The partnerships kicked off, and then
121,000.
244,000.
More than 1 million confirmed cases of COVID-19.
The killing of George Floyd.
Police firing tear gas.
Say her name!
Protesters here.
Explosion ripped through Beirut's port.
Protests erupting coast to coast over conditions at migrant detention centers.
Slow Factory works at the intersection of human rights and environmental justice, particularly fashion industry, but of course the fashion industry touches on so many different industries, so we kind of work everywhere. So Slow Factory started as an experiment. Just like in science, any kind of experiment starts small. Everything starts on like a petri dish. And when you start small, you are able to understand how we can like grow from that point. And then we thought, okay, if we were to do anything, this is what we need to do. We need to foster collaboration. And we pair a designer with a scientist. Swarovski has been always championing emerging designers and has always been a protector of the design world in a way, especially in fashion.
Swarovski has supported the fashion industry since the late 90s, and we felt that this collaboration added another very important element to a fashion collaboration, namely the direct contact of science and technology. And for us, that combination of a designer teamed up with a scientist represented an incredible example of problem solving.
This pilot year is a special year because we chose 6 special people to come. So Mara and Ngozi knew each other from before, and they had already explored multiple collaborations. We've always wanted to work with Ngozi. Her organization is incredible. What she's doing needs to be amplified more than this. And there was a natural fit with Mara Hoffman because they were already discussing working deeper and deeper together. And what we did is just to accelerate that.
I came to develop Custom Collaborative because there was a woman, Mariama, who was my dressmaker, and she'd make me these beautiful dresses and charge me next to nothing for them. And I just thought about how much more money she could make, how many more women could be happier if they could have clothes that fit and affirmed their bodies. I met Mara because one of the folks who works with her, Celine, and I were on a panel at a career day for high schoolers. And from that, we started taking our students to Mara Hoffman's studio for a field trip.
So the framework is really in the pursuit of women's economic empowerment and independence, and through the lens of sustainability in fashion. The initial idea was to give women the training that they would need to come into a company like mine and play a really important role in our systems. And we had the idea that after the training, the women would learn how to do repairs and restoration to give our clothing a longer life cycle. And if we can empower and employ more women as part of this process, it's also very much part of our sustainability mission.
Mara would come out of her office and come, spend an hour or so with the women and talk to them about her career and her path and what they could do and answer their questions. And so it grew from there.
Ngozi has been in this space far longer than we have. She's really so masterful and amazing and has been doing this work for a really long time. So she had that framework set up on her own in order to bring the women who needed the work together, give them the training that they needed. And we had extra fabric and people on the ground in New York City and services in New York City. So we came together to make PPE masks. And all of the proceeds of that would go directly back to those women. So it was a way of supporting people during a really scary time.
There were 11 students in the class, and among the 11 of them, they lost about 60 friends and family members. And that speaks to the communities that they come from, right? We know that COVID hits really hard on Black and brown communities and immigrant communities, the same way that racial injustice has and always has, in the same way that economic downturns always do. So if I were to step back and look at it objectively, I would say this has been a disastrous situation for me, for Custom Collaborative, for people of color. At the same time, we've been able to pull through and continue our work, because that's what Black people have always done. And literally, we all know that we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. 8 months of coronavirus, and we're still standing. It's hard as hell, but there's nothing I would rather be doing. The women who work with us, they're from more than 20 different countries. Many of them just amaze me with not just their talents, but also their insights and their resilience and their determination to make good lives for themselves and for their families. But we stuck with the students and they stuck with us, and of the 11 of them who were in class in early March, all 11 graduated, and they developed such a strong sisterhood. These are people who've only known each other for 2 or 3 weeks. And so when I say I'm inspired by them, I totally am, because they open up themselves in generosity and love, and I aim to, follow the behavior that they've modeled.
I am in awe of this woman. She is like the epitome of leadership. And every time I leave going, oh my God, how is she this powerful? How does she have this presence and this strength? So it's a small case study right now. But what we did find is that it works. Like, yes, it was a small scale during the craziest of times. And I think these times are going to stay crazy. But it sort of speaks to what we can do as an industry. This industry speaks so much of sustainability. It speaks so much of women's empowerment. But it's been built on a very patriarchal idea of success and what is growth, and that's expansion, and it's more, and it's more, and it's more.
I do wish that the world, the country, the state, the city had the same mission to help people earn income and have dignified work and take care of themselves. Until that happens, we're here.
It's been such a crazy, condensed time of chaos. And the one by one project sort of felt like, oh my God, what are we doing? But at the same time, oh my God, we need to do this 10 times more. This needs to be the norm. This needs to be how we work together.
A lot of companies don't want to invest in a more sustainable way. We believe it's totally doable. It's just really a strategic decision and strategic will of corporations to embrace this.
And, honestly, in order for us to survive any type of chaos, we have to apply what we're doing at One by One. We gotta work together. We gotta start small. We gotta understand exactly what it is that we're doing, establish solid parameters and frameworks for us to work together. And once we come up with something viable, we have to be able to share it and communicate it to the rest of the world, to the public, to the industry, so that our notes can be copied and taken, so that people can build upon our work. Because that is how we build progress.